Hello, lovely humans. So, it's been a while, and let's talk about that a little bit. So welcome back to the Opera Cecilia YouTube channel, which is now going to be rebranded soon as the Cecilia Music YouTube channel. The only reason we're rebranding that is not because we're not actually still focusing on opera sometimes and not still producing operatic performances in the future. It's more because we encapsulate a lot of other genres and we like to talk about a lot of other genres on here besides opera, and so we just felt like Cecilia Music was a little bit more of an all-encapsulating name for what we're going for with this channel and where we wish to take the channel in the future. But I think the main elephant in the room is not necessarily the fact that we're rebranding a little bit as a company. It's the fact that I haven't posted a reaction video in over a year. I think the best way that I can possibly explain this is that I was definitely going through the ringer a little bit in both my mental and my physical health. And while it was kind of sucky for the channel itself, because we were on a pretty good growth trajectory when I decided to stop uploading for a while, at least uploading reaction-based content. It was really, really good for my mental and physical well-being at the time for me to step back and take a break and reevaluate what my life goals are and what my goals were as an independent artist in my career, and deciding to go more of the entrepreneurial route with my music. I actually was diagnosed with PCOS, and I'm super open about it, and I think it's really important to be open about it on the internet, which is the only reason why I'm bringing it up in this video at all. But polycystic ovarian syndrome is actually a very common hormonal condition for women that actually causes a lot of really, really not fun symptoms. And a lot of symptoms are connected to your mental health. So women with PCOS are more likely to suffer from chronic depression and anxiety. Women with PCOS are more likely to have fertility issues. They're more likely to have issues with their monthly cycles. And like I said, I think it's an important thing to be a spokesperson for on the internet, because there's still a lot of research coming out about it, and it manifests itself a little bit differently for any person who might be struggling with it. And I just want you to know that if you are one of the many that do struggle with this condition, you are not alone. And the way that it affects your mental health is very, very real. And so around the time that I found out I had that, and that was explaining a lot of what was happening to me, I got some of my first YouTube hate comments. And as a result of getting the YouTube hate comments, I got spooked. And I think this happens a lot to first-time creators or newer creators, is where you get into the internet sphere and you think you have a super thick skin and you're like, oh, I'm going to be able to take comments in stride even if they're negative. But because I was so precarious with my health at the time, and because my self-esteem in general as a singer and as a professional musician was kind of precarious due to the mental health issues at the time, I got so spooked that I just stopped making videos, and I started dreading making them. And I never want to feel that way about an aspect of my career. But what caused me to ultimately come back to these videos is the fact that I love music so damn much, and I love you guys so damn much. And by you guys, I mean the people who really were coming for and supporting this channel, the people who were fans of these fantastic artists that we talked about on this channel and really thought that Tanis and I had really valuable things to say. The people that believed in Opera Cecilia as a whole, as a company. Those are the people that I want to continue the channel for. And also, I just love talking about this stuff. And I was drowning in imposter syndrome because I would get very accusatory, very judgmental things in the comment sections of videos sometimes. And it was just somebody who maybe didn't like my opinion and wasn't taking it in a very nice way or articulating it in a nice way. You know how the YouTube algorithm and hate comments go. And everybody gets them. If you decide to have your opinion out on the internet, of course you're going to have people who have less than favorable opinions about what you have to say. But that shouldn't stop you from doing the things that you really want to do. And what I love to do is to talk about music. And there were a few artists in particular that really inspired me to start this channel and start the reaction series in the first place, and do these fun analysis and go on the nerdy journey with me and take you guys down the nerdy journey, I guess, as I've said in previous videos. And that was the stuff that really brought me so much joy and so much happiness in my life, and my love for everyone who has supported this channel and my care for you all is the reason why I wanted to come back and talk about these amazing artists like Dimash and Angelina and Aurora. So all the mainstays that have brought the channel to where it's at currently, but to also bring in brand new artists and talk more about operatic artists too. And this all came with a little bit of a reinvention of my identity as an artist in general. I've come to realize that I am so much more than just an opera singer. I have a master's degree in opera performance. I still sing opera, but that's only just a fraction of who I am as a musician. I'm also a songwriter. I've been kind of inconspicuously sharing my original music to the channel. We'll link it down below in the description of this video if you would like to check it out. But anyway, this explanation of why I'm coming back after like a 1.5 year break from making videos is becoming way too long, but I figured I would give you all some context and just pour my heart out to you all a little bit and just say that I'm so excited to be back. And not only that, I'm excited to be back with an artist that helped get this channel started in the first place, and that is none other than the fabulous Aurora. So this reaction video is purely a reaction video. I mean, I'm going to do a little bit of vocal technique analysis and all of that stuff. For those of you who have stuck around with previous videos before, you kind of know that I'm also a professional voice instructor. I actually have my own voice studio that's been growing a lot in the last year that I'm super proud of. And so I love talking about vocal technique, but I also love talking about expression and vocal storytelling and how the human voice can be a part of all of those things. So those are the main things that I'll be focusing on today. But this is a performance of a newer song by Aurora. I haven't done background research on this performance or this song, so everything in this video is kind of just my own speculation and observation coming from a vocal background. So I hope you guys enjoy that. Take it with a grain of salt, of course, but I hope I can help you all learn something in the process. So without further ado, we're going to be listening to Your Blood, particularly a live performance that she recently did of the song that I thought was particularly gripping and moving.
Okay, we will wait. Okay, yes.
She's so cute. It's like a little fairy nymph.
Your blood, what matter is it made of? Do you feel it trapped in and out your heart? Stitching up the big holes you prepared for battle as you fell apart. All your
One of my favorite things about Aurora is that she really knows how to set the tone expressively for a performance from the beginning. What I tell my voice students a lot is the fact that when you are a vocal storyteller, when you are primarily going through the medium of music as a vocalist, your voice is your primary expressive device in your body. And that seems like a very obvious thing to say, but it's not quite as intuitive as you would think, because your bodily gestures and your facial expressions, this is just my opinion as somebody who trains artists all the time, those are second tier. And a lot of people will kind of not know what to do with their hands, not know what to do with their body, not know what to do with their facial expressions even during a performance, because they're thinking of it as a completely separate entity from their voice, when in fact all of the rest of your body is existing to express primarily what the voice is expressing. So your voice is the number one expressive tool and expressive device. So one of my favorite things to do in my voice studio is close my eyes and have students sing through their repertoire, sing through their music, and tell me the story as if their voice was the absolute only thing that existed that could tell the story at all, as if I couldn't see anything that you were doing. There was nothing, no visual component to it whatsoever. And that changes your inflections, and that changes also the way your body moves. It starts to kind of naturally move to serve that. And so that's how you can find what your bodily movements are. And so Aurora is so good at using her voice for storytelling and artistry that her body is just following suit. And oftentimes this looks like this beautiful dramatic dance. Other times it can look like nonsensical movement to somebody who may not understand the meaning of her song as much. But rest assured, she's extremely connected to the text that she wrote or co-wrote for these songs. And she's extremely connected to how the melody line is expressing that text as clearly as possible. And so I love her little dances at the beginning. I love the way that her arms move during her performances. And I love the fact that she's literally just letting the performance guide her. She's letting what her voice is doing guide what her body is doing. So there's kind of this hierarchy of expression as a vocalist, and the voice, of course, is at the top, and then the body gestures and the facial expressions are sort of second tier to that and serve whatever the voice is doing. Also realize that she's oscillating pretty quickly from like chest voice sounds to head voice sounds, and she's not afraid to play within that bridge, because when you are primarily focused on being an artist and telling a story with your voice, you're not necessarily as concerned with having absolutely precise vocal perfection, or as close to vocal perfection as a human being can get in a live performance. You're more concerned with, how does this part of my voice, how does this register in my voice express this specific emotion? She's so emotional as an artist that it's almost impossible not to be moved by what she does with her voice, or not to have kind of a spiritual experience in her performances, which is why so many people love her, which is why I love her so much.
Your voice drowning in white noise. Do you hear the echo begging you to let go? This earth, whoever was it made for, just wait until tomorrow, and you might not be as cold.
Copyright infringement is going to get me if I keep just going super long without talking about anything, because her performance is just so enchanting. You just want to keep listening to it. But as my headphones are falling out of my ears, this is what happens when Taylor attempts to use modern technology. But what I absolutely love about this, what I'm absolutely loving about what I'm hearing between those register shifts and her heartfelt movements and her voice and all of the things that she's doing on stage, she has such sincere facial expression. She's beckoning to her audience, so she's directly communicating with them. This is a very fourth wall breaking performance. In like a musical theater performance, you might not get this as much. You have characters that are genuinely pretending to be people in real situations and scenarios on stage. So there isn't this direct address to the audience, but the unique experience of being at a concert is that direct connection. So she's communicating this so clearly directly to them. And what I love about Aurora's purpose as an artist, which is why I've always loved her work, is the fact that the entire theme of everything she does is encouraging people to not censor themselves so much, encouraging people to let go. So of course she's going to be using whatever impulse movements her voice tells her to do on stage, because that's a part of the process of letting go, is not feeling like you have to censor those bodily movements just because you might not look cool, or it might not look super focused or planned or intentional if you do so. I'm so passionate about this topic because I do think that a lot of artists get really preoccupied with sounding perfect or looking marketable on stage, and they are not really as enthralled in the storytelling process of their art form as they could be. And that's the part that really truly moves people. A lot of people either are an untrained ear or don't really care if the voice is perfect and precise all the time. But her voice is pretty dang incredible. Like the way that she can easily shift between vocal registers, the way that she leans into lower nasality during the verses. So she's activating kind of like this very front, bright sense of pitch that I kind of, if singers want to capture that in my lessons, I kind of tell them to imagine the sounds coming out of their nose a little bit. It's just a visualization technique. She's so good at capturing those moments and those lower chest voice moments in her voice, and then going up into this beautiful ethereal upper register. Sometimes she goes fuller in the upper register. That's where you hear more core to the tone. And sometimes when she wants to capture more intimacy, she's not afraid to let some of the air escape. And that might sound a little breathier to some people, but usually it's always for a super intentional storytelling purpose.
I refuse to die. I refuse to die. But I refuse to die. I refuse to die. And you
when she now these are getting tangled up in my hair. This video is chaos. But anyway, now you're getting to the point where she has this massive dynamic shift because she's going into kind of this bridge section of the song where she says, but I refuse to die. And notice how she was up in this big ethereal kind of head voicey, more forte seeming section of the song. And now she's going down to more of a piano dynamic or a quiet dynamic. And she's all of a sudden making a really, really clear point. That's why she's pointing to herself. That's why her facial expression gets a little more stern. She's very, very determined to say that she refuses to die. She refuses to die to feeling, to emotion, to really fully experiencing the world, which I think is so much about so much what this song is about, because she literally calls it your blood. And what do we all have? We all have blood. Blood is an intrinsic part to our humanity, to our physiology. And it's the reason why we keep living. It's vital for us to have blood. And so what I absolutely love about Aurora's career too is the fact that in her storytelling, there I say it again, she is subverting a lot of the things that we as a society, at least a Western society, tend to be kind of grossed out by. Bloods, she, I think, mentions needles in the first verse, like a lot of things that we consider maybe taboo topics, but they're actually intrinsic to our humanity, and they're things that can be very, very beautiful and can be seen as beautiful. And she's just a fantastic example of an artist that subverts expectations, doesn't always want to sing about what's traditionally palatable. Instead, she wants people to be more intrinsically connected to their humanity. And that's what once again, what I love about her so much is the fact that she's not afraid to really go there with her lyric writing, and she's not afraid to be soothing. She's talking about blood, and yet it's like the world's most soothing song, expressively free. And you can see that the entire audience is completely transfixed by it. And the reason why Aurora is as popular as she is and has the fan base that she has is because she accesses this base desire in people to be free. And she lets people be free through her music. She liberates people through her music because she's not afraid to talk about these things that people feel stifled in talking about a lot.
When all inside you burns like a star is left to you, then oh, that you are reborn again, reborn again. And maybe if you called out for help,
Notice how she rapidly changes vowels in that section. So she goes to more of a closed mouth kind of humming sound toward the bottom of her register. She's coming down from the runner, descending, and at the top she's using more full voice. She's using more core to her sound so that she can be well supported and have more open vowels up there. But at the same time, there's something so primal about that, and there's something so intimate about that. It kind of emphasizes the importance of what she's saying and why these vocal runs that she's doing are not just beautiful aesthetically, they actually are a part of talking and telling the message that she wants to tell. I swear these little earbuds are going to be the bane of my existence in this video. She's telling the story that she wants to tell through the vocal runs, because those are actually the moments in the storytelling where words are not really good enough to convey what she wants to convey. She wants to convey emotions that seem to be almost heavenly or divine, or things we can only access through making sounds of satisfaction or intimacy or beauty, or calling upon our voice for more of a primal reason instead of a sophisticated speech-oriented reason. We have beautiful poetry in this piece too. Her melody lines and her vocal lines are serving as kind of sonic poetry in and of themselves. I think sonic poetry needs to go on a t-shirt. I like the way that sounds. But anyway, let's keep going.
Is it made of? Do you feel it travel in and out your heart?
I love how it gets intimate again at the end. That was absolutely gorgeous. That was absolutely transfixing the whole time. Is that a word, transfixing? I don't know. Like I said, this video is kind of descended into chaos anyway. It's my first one after a 1.5 year break, so have mercy on me, please. But hopefully you've learned something from kind of at least the way that I approach teaching voice or singing myself. What I loved about the end as well is not only how it went back to intimacy, but also how incredibly joyful it became. Because not only is she talking about freeing yourself of the things that seem taboo or connecting us all to intrinsic parts of our humanity, but she's also directly addressing a person and saying, I want every single part of you. I love those parts of you that are deeper than what is on the surface. And when you have a day and age where everything on the radio seems so overproduced all of the time, when you have a day and age where everything has to be perfectly curated or auto-tuned or absurdly precise, and we're always taking in these overly visual, overly perfect aesthetics all the time, both on the internet and in real life, because now we're trying to make our own bodies into something that they're not for the sake of catering to trends. You have somebody like her who is not afraid to subvert expectations, not afraid to push boundaries in her art, still really beats to the tune of her own drum, or beats to the beat of her own drum, I guess, for the sake of maintaining her own uniqueness and authenticity. And as a result of it, she's inspiring other people to do the same. When I found Aurora's music, I was in grad school. And there was something so freeing and liberating and spiritual about experiencing her music for the first time for me, because at the time I was being trained as an opera singer, and the opera industry has a really nasty way of kind of putting you in a box vocally, which is why now in my career I kind of identify more as a singer of many different genres, a crossover singer, if you will, because that makes me feel so much less limited in my artistry and in my own storytelling that I wish to do with my voice. And so Aurora was really an artist that I looked up to, that inspired me to go on that path towards seeking my own uniqueness and authenticity. So I'm kind of a prime example of the fact that she is breaking down barriers in people, and she's making people feel less afraid of not necessarily fitting into easy, perfect boxes, but instead being empowered to like really be themselves. Because if you think about it, that's the only truly unique gift that we can give to the world, as cliche as it sounds, is to be yourself. I absolutely love all genres of music, and I love talking about the similarities and the differences between all of them. So welcome back to the Artistic Director React series. I also like to say Songwriter Reacts sometimes because that's a big perspective that I approach listening to music from, is listening to music like a songwriter. I do share some of my own original music to this channel, and a lot more of that is coming up soon. Thank you so much. Remember to subscribe if you liked this reaction / a little bit of analysis, if you liked my perspectives on things. And remember that is a lot more coming, and I'm so excited to get started with this series again. And thank you all for your patience with me. Thank you to all of our current subscribers, especially for sticking around with us and not going away. And please feel free to check out our other content that is already up on the channel. In the meantime, I will see you again soon. Bye.